Rahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. This is the recording for the second topic in our course, Islamic or Ethics, AAM3063. So the title of the topic is Ethics and Akhlaq. So these are among the objectives of the topic. After you have learned this topic, I hope that you should be able to comprehend, to understand the discussion on the principles of ethics and also the principles of akhlaq. And I hope that you have the ability to explain the importance of akhlaq in Al-Quran and also through Sunnah. Okay, we move on to the first subtopic, which is the definitions and conceptions of ethics and also akhlaq. Okay, we always ask ourselves about the choices of doing things right and also the chances of doing things wrong. Right or wrong might related to our intention. Right or wrong might related to our way of doing things. Right or wrong can also not only based on our intentions and the way how do something that we intended to do, but also might be based on what others think about the right or wrong things that you want to do. Okay, so these kind of questions really need a kind of guidance, a kind of guidance that can give alignment in terms of, do we do something that really correct or really right in terms of our own understanding and also satisfying others' understanding, or do we do something that we think it is right but it is actually wrong in the eyes of others. So a guidance for these particular questions of, do we do things rightly or do we do things wrongly, is actually based on what we call as ethics and also akhlaq. Alright, the word ethics has been derived from the Greek root of ethos, which has been defined as the meaning or connotation on custom or habit. When we talk about custom or habit, it means that a group of people or maybe an individual, when he do something repeatedly and he keep thinking that that kind of thing or that kind of behavior is correct, or he is so comfortable with that kind of doings, right? So we call it as habit, right? The habit of eating using right hand, the habit of reciting dua after or before we go to sleep, right, and so on. So on the other hand, the word ethics is actually originated from the word morals, which is the root of morality. So in their common usage, these two concepts indicate to the social or cultural standards and also principles by which we customarily judge things as right or wrong and good or bad. For example, playing our gadgets while our lecturer is delivering his lecture in front of the class. Is it right or is it wrong? Is it good or is it bad? So to understand this idea or the principles about this, about right or wrong conception and selection, so we need to understand the idea or the principles of ethics. Ethics are important for the development of beneficial Muslim conduct and character as commanded by Allah in Al-Quran. And you need to know that Islamic ethics define value as good character, shaped by Al-Quran's teaching and also what Rasulullah SAW inherited us through his Sunnah, as well as numerous precedents set by Islamic jurists through what we call as the law of Sharia and also fiqh. So we know that the deen itself is manners. Anyone surpassing you in manners is better than you in the deen, according to Ibn Al-Qayyim. Alright. The next understanding about ethics is based on the language or linguistic perspective. We know that the Arabic word of akhlaq, the Arabic word of akhlaq is which is plural of khuluq, as more or less the same connotations or understandings of the word ethics. So akhlaq, khuluq indicate the physical appearance, and at the other side of the coin as the spiritual standards of human behavior, and also his or her characteristics in daily social interactions as well as rational judgment. So in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also uses a whole array of terms in describing the conceptions of goodness, such as khair, bir, ma'ruf, qist, haq, taqwa, adil, and so on, which we can understand as the positiveness terms that related to ethics or akhlaq, goodness, righteousness, known and approved, piety, truth and right, equity, equilibrium, justice, and so on. So I take one definition by William Rees in 1980. He said that ethics is depicted as building systems designed to provide guidance in making decisions concerning the idea of good and evil, right and wrong, or meta-ethics, which analyzing the logic of usage with respect to good and evil and also wrong. So from these definitions, we can say that and we can understand that ethics as a theoretical background of moral concern on the following. Number one, ethics providing guidance for moral decisions and also ethical judgments. Number two, it helps us in terms of analyzing and evaluating rational usage of moral conduct. And last but not least, understanding the meaning of moral value. So by having the understanding about ethics and also what we have conquered just now, we may make reference to three interrelated meanings which related so much with ethics and also akhlaq, which are number one, the analyzing of concepts such as ought, should, duty, moral, rules, right, wrong, obligation, or responsibility. B, the inquiry into the nature of morally or moral acts. And C, the search for the morally good life. However, in Islam, the source of ethics is its religious institutions, transmitting a divine revelation to mankind. So in another word, we can say that the Quran, in other words, the Quran and Sunnah automatically become the most powerful sources of akhlaq or the interpretation of ethics in Islam. Rasulullah SAW himself has been described as the best model of behavior, ethics, akhlaq, and the way of thinking for all believers. So akhlaq is an Arabic term referring to practice virtue, morality, and good manners, and also character in Islam. In simple words, we can say that akhlaq is basically the ethics, good conduct, and moral characteristics of a person. So it has been reported that Rasulullah SAW himself said about akhlaq in this world, the only reason why I am sent is to perfect good akhlaq. Alright, we move to the discourse on akhlaq. So even though the physical makeup of an individual produces certain dispositions in him, so it is by no means true that man has no choice in the matter and is absolutely compelled to abide by the dictates of his physical makeup. So on the contrary, since man has the power to choose, he can overcome the dictates of his physical nature through his daily practice and effort, and can acquire the disposition of his choice. Absolutely, it should be admitted that those dispositions which are caused by the mental faculties, such as the element of intelligence, memory, mental agility, and the like, are not alterable. All other dispositions, however, may be changed according to man's will. So man can control his lust, his anger, his nerves, and other emotions, and also desires, and channel these kind of lust, angers, and so on to edify himself and propel himself along the path of perfection and also wisdom. So in fact, in the past, the philosophers, the ulama, and so on, not considered any or the other fields of learning to be truly independent sciences. So these scholars believe that without the science of ethics and spiritual purification, mastery over any other science is not only devoid of any value, but it would in fact lead to the obstruction of insight and ultimate destruction of those who pursue it. So that is why it has been said that, which means knowledge is the thickest of veils, which prevents man from seeing the real nature of things. Alright, now we move on to the importance of akhlaq according to Quran and also Sunnah. So you need to know that according to Islam, talking about ethics and also akhlaq, whatever leads to welfare of the individual or society, okay, is morally good, been perceived as morally good. And whatever is vice versa, is injurious, it is been perceived as morally bad. So the concept of ethics or morality has been the foundation of an Islamic society since its advent in the 7th century. Okay. So the importance of akhlaq according to Quran and Sunnah, as maybe I can give the introduction of this conception of al-akhlaq, where it is the way to righteousness. Allah says in Al-Quran in several verses that al-akhlaq is the way to righteousness or good morals, right? So in Al-Baqarah, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, it is not albir, righteousness, piety and virtue that you turn towards the east or the west in your salah, but the righteousness man is the one who believes in Allah and the last day, okay, who believes the angels, all right, in the books, which is Al-Quran, and also the prophets, who gives away of his wealth in spite of love for it to his relatives, to the orphans, to the needy, or the poor people, and to the traveler in need, and to those who ask, and to set slaves free. Alright, so in this sense, we can understand that an act of goodness is much dear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than one's wealth and also richness. So we should also know that from where this goodness actually comes. So goodness comes from good akhlaq. This is a kind of reflection. When we do something good, so it means that it is the reflection of our akhlaq, which is the practice of virtue, the practice of ethics, morality, and also a good character. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that a person's akhlaq is a tremendous thing in his sight. Alright, we should try to improve our relations with those whom we do not get on, right? And then we should seek forgiveness from those who are angry with us. And we should create such a feeling of brotherhood that the Muslim Ummah becomes one in reality. Alright. Then, this is known as good akhlaq that we should keep developing between us. And if we want to show someone that we are a good kind of person, then show him with our akhlaq, because the sign of good person is that his akhlaq is actually excellent. Okay. Alright. Then Quran again is the source to cure our akhlaq, because Quran is for all humanity and for all purposes of life. Zikrullah is the thing that improve our akhlaq. So we have to do sincere zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and such a light will enter into our heart, inshallah, that people will say that people will say what good akhlaq this person has. And then the word akhlaq appears in Al-Quran that says of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For example, in Al-Qalam, verse number 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed, you are of lofty character. So akhlaq also appears in many hadiths, confirming the necessity and importance of ethics in Islam. An example is one of the hadiths of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, when he says, the most beloved of you to Allah is the best of you in character, narrated by Imam Al-Bukhari. And then being Muslim is our duty to follow the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we must try our best to show good akhlaq towards all people, no matter we know him or we don't recognize him, we have met him every day, or we first time meeting someone, and then no matter if that particular person is Muslim or non-Muslim. So good akhlaq also includes the sincerity, the honesty, and truthfulness in doing the acts of worship. For example, giving sadaqah, salah, reciting Al-Quran, taubah, and others. So we should approach Allah with beautiful etiquettes, for Allah loves the one with good conduct. So one's good character and good akhlaq are the reasons that take him closer to Allah, which ultimately take that particular person, that individual, closer to Jannah, inshallah. Alright, that's all for this particular topic of ethics and akhlaq. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.